Well, as we have been telling you all morning, an investigation is underway after students organized to protest a teacher's support of Israel. Now, that teacher at Hillcrest High School allegedly called police saying she was concerned about her own safety.
The mayor called the protest a vile show of anti-Semitism. This morning, a rally against anti-Semitism taking place in schools, and that is taking place at the Queens Board of Education. Queens Borough President Donovan Richards joining us now to discuss this and more. So good to see you, Borough President. Thanks for being here on this Monday.
Good to see you.
So let's begin with what's the latest on how the school and the Department of Education addressing this incident that took place at this school at Hillcrest in your borough, and your thoughts overall on it.
Well, let me just say what happened was totally unacceptable, and we will never tolerate anti-Semitism or Islamophobia or any hate across the borough. Right after this interview, I'll be heading out to Hillcrest with the chancellor, where we'll be meeting with students and we'll be meeting with faculty to make sure we get to the bottom of this, but more importantly, to make sure that we forge a peaceful path forward for the students and the teachers during this difficult moment in history.
So apparently, at least according to Councilmember Vicky Palladino, this isn't the first incident at Hillcrest, and she says that she believes the school should be shut down after a full and thorough investigation. Do you feel like
no, that's ridiculous? And let me say, Hillcrest has done a lot of work. Despite these two incidents, we don't want to totally frame this school as a school that has not been making progress. You know, I've invested over $1 million in this school during my tenure as borough president. So they've made certainly some strides, and we're not going to let these incidents define the progress that this school has made.
What about that teacher?
The teacher, I anticipate the teacher will be returning this week, and we're working with, obviously, with our partners at School Safety. The bottom line is what happened to her was unacceptable, and we want to send a very clear message that no, we will not cower in fear, that she's going to be able to come back and teach in a safe environment, and I anticipate that will happen this week.
I mean, obviously, this was all sparked by what's happening over in Israel, and you had an opportunity to go there, the Israel-Gaza border, right before Thanksgiving. Can you describe for us what you witnessed?
This was, I mean, how do you put it in words? You know, the stench of death was still in the air. You can literally hear artillery fire happening, you know, between Hamas and the IDF, the families that we met with who are displaced. And, you know, we also are sensitive to the plight of innocent individuals on the Palestine side who also have been held hostage by Hamas as well. So we met with a wide variety of electeds and different organizations and individuals, including reporters from all different spectrums, who agree that there are no winners in war and we need a two-state solution. And at the end of the day, Hamas needs to give up.
You know, and well, there is this promise now of this extended ceasefire, right? The possibility of more hostages being released. Is that enough to undo the damage that you saw in the region?
This is my second trip to Israel, and I will tell you, you know, as somebody who's been to the West Bank, to the Gaza, you know, going back to 2015, I left that trip unsure if we would ever get to a two-state solution. I think right now we are further apart than we've ever been. I think it's going to really take the international community, including the U.S. and Egypt, and of course our friends in Saudi Arabia, to really come together to really push this two-state solution. But there's a lot of damage done, and we're feeling that. You feel that in the high school. We talked about Hillcrest. You feel it on the streets, and we're going to be doing a large amount of work in my office to make sure that we're unifying communities, both Muslim and Jewish and Christian, no matter what. We're the most diverse county in the United States. And I think Queens can certainly set an example for the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's switch gears a little bit. Back here at home, the city's latest round of budget cuts means library closures in Queens. What do you make of all of that, and what can be done, if anything?
Well, right now we've lost two branches, both the Central Branch Library and Flushing. We've lost 7-day service. Obviously, we do need the federal government to step up with this migrant crisis. I believe the mayor is correct. You know, Queens has over 39,000 migrants in it, and the city can't foot this bill alone. So I'm in alignment with the mayor in saying that the feds need to step up to make sure that we can close these budget gaps. And there's still time on the clock, so there are no closures to libraries. I've invested close to $20 million into libraries already during my tenure. We're going to continue to invest in them, but we really do need that expense money to keep all of our libraries open 7 days a week, which are a huge for our communities.
You used to be in the council. What would your advice be to them right now on voting on this budget?
Well, you know, we obviously have the November plan now, and there's a lot of time left on the clock for the federal government still to fill some of these gaps. So I think advocating to Chuck Schumer, certainly working with Minority Leader Jeffries, and continuing to just be advocates in terms of pushing the Biden administration to do more here is really going to be critical in terms of closing these gaps. But make no mistake, if the reserves are running out, what else is there left to do? No one wants to see taxes raised on everyday New Yorkers, so that's not an option. And maybe the rich can pay a little bit more of their fair share. I mean, that could be a start. I mean, you could close the gaps with that. But I don't know if there's any political will to even do that. So a lot of time left on the clock. But once again, we got work to do, and we need the feds to step up.
All right, Borough President Richards, thanks again for taking the time to speak with us this morning. Appreciate it.
You have a blessed week.
You too.